everybody. This is John Murphy at Murtech.com with your daily news update. Okay, here we are on June the 8th in the year of our Lord 2026. Now, I want to kind of apologize. I'm down here in Santa Claus, Indiana with the family. We're taking the kids to Holiday World and Splash and Safari. We had an opportunity to come down here, got a pretty good deal on it. So I'm giving them a treat, a summer vacation here. And the time zone is changed from Indianapolis down here in southwestern Indiana. It's central time zone down here. And uh, I, I just got all screwed up with the time. I was going to get this started like at 9 o'clock, and then I changed it back to 8, and here it is at 8:30. So I apologize for the confusion there on the time. But here we are, and we've got some great information. So let me click on my Rumble link here, and this is my Rumble channel, and this is the video we're going over tonight, episode 1942. Let's jump into this. Go ahead and pause it. And Viper Senior, I don't know if you're still with us or not. I apologize for the time screw up. Hopefully we can get this squared away tomorrow. But here we are. Okay, let's close this out and slide down here and click the Show More button, expand out the description box. We have information from Dan Bongino, Benny Johnson, Robert Gouveia, and Wendy Bell Radio. She's back from vacation. It actually is Wendy Bell. All right, let me slide down here and give a shout out here to Coastal Drifter, just started following my channel. TB Coes just started following my channel. Klaus MD just started following my channel. Human Tiger just started following my channel. And Bucky Burr just started following my channel. So thank you very much, folks, for following my channel. I greatly appreciate that. I hope you're tuned in, and I hope you enjoy the content. All right, Debbie BS reposted my video 1941. Debbie BS and Viper Senior commented on my episode 1941. Bev112 and Debbie BS commented on my extra 724A. Debbie BS commented on my extra 724B. Two Westies, Debbie BS and Cottonball31 commented on my extra 724C. So thank you very much for reposting my videos and your comments. I enjoy reading your feedback, and I definitely appreciate your support. Okay, let me give that a thumbs up. All right, hang on just 1 second here. All right, just a vacation question here. Okay, let's get going on this and see what Dan Bongino has to say. I'm sorry I have to do this, episode 2531. Let's see what that's all about.
Little delay on the bell. Okay. So,
Little picky, isn't he?
you guys and ladies out there have real lives. You go out there and, you're working for a living. You're plumbers, you're HVAC repair people, you're engineers, pilots, military, law enforcement. You do things. You create value. Everyone from the guy or woman out there who creates furniture out there to the guy or woman who writes code that runs our businesses and our water plants and everything else. It's boring to talk about like what a bunch of talking heads have to say about each other. However, when what talking heads say about each other is epidemic of a larger problem within a movement, being infected with a mind virus, unfortunately you are the story. So I was sitting around this weekend enjoying myself. It was a great weekend on the water. I love the water. It's just relaxing. I grew up in New York where the only water we had was a freaking fire hydrant. So for me, living down here in Florida, I wouldn't say like I have a Salt Life sticker on my car. That'd be kind of phony, be like wearing a cowboy hat when I'm from New York. I'm not from Texas. I'm not a cowboy, okay? However, I really do enjoy it out there. And I had to deal with some knuckleheads, okay? So I'm bringing this up because, ladies and gentlemen, we have a movement to save. And if you saw what happened to Erica Kirk this weekend at one of her turning point events, normal people would be just absolutely revolted and disgusting. You'd be vomiting like Reagan in The Exorcist green pea soup. The movement, ladies and gentlemen, is being hijacked from the inside. I can't say this enough. It's not a coincidence that Hunter Biden has popped out of the woodwork screaming Epstein and the Jews with his old buddy Tucker and elsewhere, popping on conservative shows, trying to decimate and destroy us from the inside, and suckers are falling for it. You do not want to be these people. The truth is in front of you. The receipts are there. If you choose to believe this crazy stuff like the left believed in the Russia collusion hoax, I promise you'll go down in flames as the Tower of Babel did. You need some component of objective truth to have a movement. Do not become these guys. Here's Scott Pelley from 60 Minutes, who now is not working there anymore. We affectionately call it 61 Minutes after the Kamala Harris-Trump campaign and that debacle where they tried to, when they really screwed over President Trump, right? Scott Pelley's not there. So he gives an interview. And I want you to listen to, this is what happens when you have a movement not bedrocked and a compass true north, and you get charlatans, clowns, goofballs, alcoholics, zeros, and basically sexual deviants who take over your movement. This is what happens. You wind up having a movement where nobody knows what the truth is anymore. Amazingly, Pelley's not working at 60 Minutes anymore because of a dispute over what he thinks was, media bias, or he doesn't understand why people think they're biased, and he's looking for evidence. Now, Scott Pelley's a journalist, so we'll give him the evidence. And once we give him the evidence after this clip, let's see if Scott Pelley revises what he said. This is what the lack of truth looks like in a movement. Check this out.
She, I am told, said something to the effect of, why do you think the country thinks you're biased? But she didn't offer any kind of a metric. What's your metric? Why do you think so? Do you have a poll? Is there market research? What are you talking about? Because we certainly didn't believe that.
So is there a poll? Is there market research? Scott Pelley claims to be a journalist. He could just look that up. He could go to like ChatGPT or Google Gemini or Grok or anything like that and say, hey, is there a poll about media bias? So because Scott Pelley, who claims to be a journalist at 60 Minutes and loves to brag about all his exploits and truth finding and truth, he probably still believes in the Russia hoax for all we know, right? We decided we were going to put up the poll, which has been on the show for days, which he could just look up himself. Hat tip of Christina Wong would put this out. Trust in the media since 1972 to 2025 is down 5.3 points. Justin's like, no, that's not what it says, Dan. It's not down 5.3 points. Trust in the media is down 53 points. 53 points. Trust in the media. Percentage of Americans who have a great deal or quite a lot of trust in the mass media. It is less than 20%. 19%. So 1 in 5 Americans, only 1 in 5, actually less than 1 in 5, actually trust the media. This is what it looks like when your freaking job is objective truth and you ask that up. This wasn't even mine. This took Justin, less than 2 minutes? All sides, CBS News rated lean left. A total of 382 people rated CBS News. There's a poll right there. You can just look at it yourself. Maybe it was your role in promoting the Russia hoax. Maybe it was your role with Leslie Stahl. Sir! There was no spying on your campaign, sir. Did Leslie Stahl miss the FISA warrant? The Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, FISA court warrant on the Trump campaign? Leslie, Foreign Intelligence, chat's blowing up. I love this. I love you guys, always repping the cause. The Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, courts. Did you miss that, Les? Leslie, did you miss that? Folks, do not, and I will not ever let it happen. Not on my watch here. This is the most popular MAGA show out there. It's not in dispute. That's just the facts, okay? I am not going to let this movement go down in flames. I'm not. I'm not going to let people hijack it. I'm not going to let bullshitters, clowns, bums, zeros, and life losers come in here and try to get people off compass true north into these witch hunts out there on where they start this bullshit. They throw a shit grenade in a tent and they run away. I'm not going to let it happen. So this happened this weekend at Turning Point. This is just disgraceful. Erica Kirk, who's an American hero at this point for what she's had to put up with, her husband was brutally assassinated in a social media assassination where the video went viral probably before they even had the details. There is an active criminal investigation going on right now, and there is going to be a due process trial where people are going to have to swear to a set of facts, okay? Erica Kirk was at a Turning Point event this weekend, and some freaking lunatic, folks, this is getting dangerous. Let me just tell you, listen to me. This is really important. I'm not going to say someone's going to die because someone's already dead. I'm not going to say someone's going to get shot because multiple people have already been shot. I'm not going to say President Trump's life's going to be in danger because it's already in danger. Something is going to happen because of these lunatics. I don't make it about me, but we have had numerous issues. Here's Erica Kirk. This is just disgusting. Check this out.
It is so fleeting, but the joy of the Lord withstands all.
Erica Kirk protects pedophiles! Erica Kirk protects pedophiles!
It's important to remember that happiness comes and goes, and I pray that you find it.
Of course, the epitome of class. It's funny how that absolute mother psychopath who's saying thinks they came out. I don't know if it was a woman or a man, based on how crazy these people. I don't know what that was. But say it was the shrieking, crazy lunatic. Could have been a dude. I don't even know. Screaming like a lunatic actually thinks like that makes them look good. What you don't realize is the little bot army behind you getting you to do that is not a real authentic measure. Yes, there is a small cabal of crazy people just like you, but the rage bot army you get reinforcement on is not real. Everyone else is either laughing at you or is horrified by you as they sit there and watch Erica Kirk gracefully have to deal with a lunatic after her husband was murdered. A patriot and a hero for the movement. Folks, this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like when you get off compass true north and you get known, documented, here's the receipts, liars and frauds running this movement. So I saw Tucker had that dipshit Jimmy Doof or whatever the F his name is. He calls himself a comedian. I don't even know what he is. Who knows? But we're on the show again, and they have this weird, like it's this passive aggressive kind of thing where Tucker didn't have the balls to say anything direct. So what he does is he brings his people on, and he has his social media people do it because he's a eunuch. Okay, he's a little Nepo baby. He's never him and his life loser zero of a brother. Their daddy's probably looking down in disgrace that they spawned these two losers. But he decides to go on a show and gets all cute with his social media people, again, with the Epstein and the Jews and all this stuff. This is just their entire life, which is kind of weird because his buddy, Tucker's buddy, who were both Nepo babies themselves, Hunter Biden, they were buddies? If there was ever an Epstein class of people, it's these two. It's these two whose entire lives, the little bosom buddies. Hunter Carlson, the tag team, like the Road Warriors in the WWF or something, like a little tag team. They slap each other off. Are like two little Nepo babies who've never earned a single thing in their entire life. Little bums, losers. And Tucker's, his brother Fuckley Buckley, Fuckley? He's another one. A little Nepo baby bum. What does he do exactly? So they decide to go on the show and bring the little surrogate Jimmy Doof in there. And of course, they have to bullshit you again. So I'll show you some receipts to show you how Tucker's just making this up because he just needs, again, Tucker wants to make sure, and these people, that maximum chaos results and that this kind of stuff happens at Turning Point. Not that we focus on what's going on in geopolitics, the economy, the government cleanup happening now, none of that. Hat tip Milk Bar TV for this amazing compilation. So you think Tucker's a beacon of truth? You're one of his audience members. And you're like, no, Dan, he's a truth teller, man. Tucker's the guy. He's the compass true north. Is he? Here is 3 straight minutes of a now nuclear viral video of fucker Tarlson out there for 3 minutes, basically debating himself. You only have to debate yourself when you don't remember your own lies. You want receipts? Here you go. Check this out.
My view is you can kind of tell who's telling the truth. You can smell it.
You know, you've been talking on your show about whether Trump is the Antichrist.
I have not said that.
On your show, you said, could this be the Antichrist?
I actually did not say, could this be the Antichrist?
Could this be the Antichrist?
I don't know where that comes from, but I know that those words never left my lips.
Raised some eyebrows this week when you said that Hamas is more like a political organization than a terror group.
Hamas is a group of jihadis. They're Islamic extremists, which they also claim constantly. Which I don't know if that's true. By the way, it seems more like a political organization.
I didn't say that.
The future that I imagine is not a future in which we're yelling at each other about race. It's a future in which people are legitimately revolutionary, maybe even violent.
You said in our previous interview, the future that I imagine is not a future in which we're yelling at each other about race. It's a future in which people are legitimately revolutionary, maybe even violent.
I'm amazed that you have a tape of me saying that, and I just want to disavow it. A lot of young men in America, mostly white, but not exclusively, listen to Nick Fuentes really carefully. This kid is the single most influential figure among young white men, and not just white, actually.
Is that true?
Oh, it's definitely true.
Of course, half the thing was about Fuentes, and like, who cares? Fuentes?
There was a lot of Fuentes.
Who cares about Fuentes? Talk about irrelevant.
America's supporting Israel because it's an ally.
I don't even know what those words mean. I'm just saying my principle
they're
is
an ally, right? I mean, they both.
I don't know what that means to be an ally.
Qatar is like one of our closest allies in the world. The largest American air base in the Middle East is in Qatar. They're a close ally of ours.
I come to Israel and the infrastructure, we were flying in, and I said to my buddy, I was like, man, first of all, it looks great. I love the agriculture in Israel because it's beautiful. I love green. I love plants.
I remember when it didn't look like that.
Yeah.
First time I came in 53 years ago.
It's great.
Israel, which is one of the single ugliest countries in the world. Nothing of beauty has been built there since 1948. Sorry, I've been everywhere in that country, and it's true.
Let me get to the nub of the question, since, again, a lot is at stake. A lot of money is at stake. Land is very valuable. Israel has a lot of resources. We have a huge country. This is a country the size of New Jersey with no resources. An attack on Western civilization looks like this. It's tribalism. It's identity politics. It's DEI. It's whatever. It's Zionism. It's any belief system that begins with the understanding that one group is morally superior to other groups.
Well, just on principle, like every other group in the world has the right to its own homeland except white people? Like what?
JD has been subject to, this is well known, but I'll just confirm it, nonstop treachery.
You're accusing people of treachery, so I'm wondering, who do you mean specifically?
I don't know the answer to that. I've never worked there. So like, if you don't work there, you can say, you can say what you think you know, but it's hard to really know.
If I was telling my kids, if you think someone's lying to you, you're right.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and pause that there. Okay, I will have this video in my daily news wrap up, but I don't think I do that, what Tucker has been doing lately. Now, he used to provide pretty good information when he was on Fox, and I don't know what happened after that, but he has been going, and it's interesting, those two contradictory snippets that they had there, that they compared against each other. It seemed oddly amazing that he was wearing the same shirt or the same shirt and sweater vest in what he said on one hand, and then contradicting it, on the other hand, he was wearing the same clothes. That baffles me. I don't know. But at any rate, let me go ahead and play it back. Watch it again. Go to the Dan Bongino clip that's in the description box and check it out. But let me click on the Rumble link and show you here that this video does come from the Dan Bongino show. And you can see Dan is a little bit upset about it. I'm not going to resort to calling him names, other than I don't understand why he's being so contradictory lately. But at any rate, this video does come from Dan Bongino. It's the video I shared with you. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. Alrighty, let's jump back there and let me know, folks, if you've heard me say something contradictory about anything. I don't have much of a stance on Israel. The Jewish people are fine people. I have some Jewish friends, and they're fine people. That sometimes the governments of some of these countries I don't necessarily favor, but let me know if you hear me say something contradictory. That's all I have to say. Okay, let's slide down here and see what Benny Johnson has to say about blue-haired libs praise Trump after Washington, D.C. Renaissance left stunned. I hate that I love it. Okay. Resistance is stunned.
Beauty is a universal language. People from all corners of the globe will stand for hours to gaze at the Mona Lisa or the Sistine Chapel. Renaissance art or sculptures, beautiful things inspire people to travel great distances to go look at the Eiffel Tower. It's made out of the same material as a corporate office building in your hometown, but people aren't traveling to your hometown as tourists, most likely, because there was a era where civilization decided to build beautiful things and make them because they could, because we wanted to inspire and uplift humanity. And that generation has long since passed. Now there are no beautiful public works. It's something that seems antiquated from a bygone era, and it's very sad. And so the first thing we should do is preserve these statues and monuments and buildings and the glories of the past. And then we should be building more inspiring and beautiful things. But the work of restoring these incredible monuments must be done immediately and with haste. And the Trump administration is doing that. This is the Columbus Circle statue in Washington, D.C. It was a ruin when I was living in Washington, D.C. I lived in D.C. for nearly 15 years. And this statue was always filthy. You can see here it was so neglected that there were trees and branches. Obviously, this is passing graffiti, and it was always graffitied. There were leaves and branches sprouting up out of it. That's how little care that the National Park Service and Washington, D.C. lent to this gorgeous statue, that trees were growing up out of it. Like a lost civilization, there was bums that smelled like piss and weed, urine. They slept underneath it. The fountain was never on. This was my entire time in D.C. through Republican and Democrat administrations. And this fountain and statue right at the heart of the center of the city, right in front of the train station, was always just left to rot. This was how people were welcomed to the nation's capital and the main train terminal. Well, not anymore. President Trump has utterly beautified this statue, has restored it to its absolute natural state, along with a number of other fountains throughout Washington, D.C. that have been turned on in a renaissance. Look at this. The Columbus Circle statue is I've never seen the water running. Who turned off the water? Who decided, what broken generation decided that we didn't have enough money to run the water in the fountains? That was too much. Infinity welfare for Somalis, but not enough money to run the water in these fountains. No. This is the best work that the Trump administration is doing. I got to tell you right now, it is DuPont Circle Fountain, Freedom Plaza in downtown Washington, World War II Memorial Fountain. They're beautifying and refusing decline all throughout our nation's capital. And even libs in DC are just stunned at what they are seeing. It is really, truly creating a renaissance for normies to understand like what nation was built for them by greater civilizations and left for them to enjoy. This is the Meridian Hill Malcolm X Park fountain that, again, was a homeless ruin. And DC residents are saying, what?
It's quiet except for the Chipotle. I'm going to dox myself because I'm moving, but I've lived near Meridian Hill Park in DC for almost 2 years now. And the water's never been in the pond there. This has never happened before. I was always too afraid to come here because of the homeless people, but they're all gone. And it seriously looks like Paris. I mean, I've never seen this many people out here.
Watch this. This is my favorite.
I mean, look, everyone.
Look at this. Literal blue hair. Who do you think they voted for? Who do you think these people? Now, the commentator here, the TikToker, is like, everybody is enjoying it. And then she zooms in on these people because you can tell the blue hair, the body, like you can tell that they are libs. These are libtards. These are your classic DC libtards. And not a drop of testosterone found. But they are enjoying the fountain.
Is enjoying it. Everybody. A year ago, Trump said he was going to clean up DC, and he did. It is clean, it's calm, it's quiet, except for the Chipotle down in Navy Yard, apparently this weekend, but I wasn't there for that.
Anyway, it's really neat to see. It's happening all throughout the city. The fountains at Lafayette Park outside the White House are running. Red, white, and blue. These fountains have never been on either. All of DC was built as a capital city for the world. It was built, obviously, as a capital city for the world to come here and marvel at the glory of America and at the glory of God, quite frankly, and the providence and that has been given to our nation. Worth fighting for, the White House says. Decline is a choice. Yes. Thank you. Beautiful restorations in D.C. Nobody can believe this fountain. This was probably a tough one to get going, or maybe not. Probably didn't even take that much. But these are the decisions of decline. These are the choices of decline. I mean, look at the difference here. Look at this. Just a relic left to rot. Again, it looks like a destroyed civilization. It looks like the Roman ruins, that you can see. Anyway, Donald Trump is out posting about his newest arrival here, which is the reflecting pool. He's done a full renovation of the reflecting pool. President Trump saying the lib tears, he's filling the reflecting pool with liberal tears, which is completely true.
Okay, and I just want to jump in here that the liberals, deep state, were actually having lawsuits against Donald Trump for trying to clean up Washington, D.C., and they were moaning and groaning and bitching about how he had like a $1.6 million budget and had to increase that to like, 2.8 or 3 million or something like that. But they didn't say an intercoursing word about Biden spending $13 million and actually not getting it repaired. That is the hypocrisy that we have in the lying legacy mainstream media, deep state swamp, and rhinos. That upsets me so much. I almost feel like, talking like Dan Bongino does at times. But with that being said, I'm glad I got that off my chest. Let's continue.
Donald Trump took a lot of heat for the reflecting pool, but now libs are straight up saying, no, this is amazing because, again, beauty is empirical and everybody wants to live in a beautiful, well-maintained, clean place.
In a way that it did not look before. And I hate that. I thought it was a stupid idea to paint the reflecting pool, but y'all, it looks good. It actually looks really good. Like, it makes the reflection look extraordinarily prominent in a way that it did not look before. And I hate that.
And I hate that. Libs admitting the L. Patriots in Washington, D.C. are talking about the prized possessions that represent we
For
the
all
people.
of U.S. citizens and our visitors and partners, I think it's fantastic.
I'm Joseph Olmo, News 4.
You're getting a first glimpse.
Inside the Oval Office today.
So those are compared to, those are among the tallest buildings in the world.
President Trump compared the size of D.C.'s reflecting pool with the height of some of America's most famous skyscrapers.
It's going to be beautiful.
Tonight, it appears that one of the president's most ambitious projects in D.C. is nearing an end. He posted on social media.
Yep. There we go. They've started filling in the reflecting pool. Will it reflect? Well, look for yourselves. Because, of course, the reflecting pool was a sludge-filled literal swamp. DC is built on a literal swamp. It was sickening if you had actually seen it beforehand. President Trump saying you might rename it the Trump Promenade, and you can see now how gorgeous it reflects because of all the muck and filth and dead bodies, most likely floating in the bottom of the reflecting pool. It didn't actually reflect that well.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pause this. He's just basically talking more about the same stuff. But let me click on it. I want to move on. So let me click on the Rumble link and show you that this video does come from Benny Johnson. This is the video I shared with you, and you heard it with your own ears. Now, even though Donald Trump is doing good things, the liberals hate it. I hate it. You know, they can't accept it that Donald Trump is doing good things. And he does what he says he's going to do. They can't stand it. It pisses them off. They hate it. Okay, jumping back here. Let's see what Robert Gouveia has to say about Democrats hit with ghost voters lawsuit in California. Amazing. Let's check it out.
A bombshell lawsuit now filed to expose the 873,000 ghost voters in California. And this one brought to us courtesy of Judicial Watch. Of course, they're still counting the votes in California, but the Orange County supervisor, the Republican for Secretary of State, is suing the other secretary, Shirley Weber, this woman who said that it's going to take a long time to count. So why is this taking so long in California? Because of Shirley, because of people like Schiff, because of Becerra and Gavin Newsom. And so now there's a lawsuit that has been filed. We'll take a look at it. The complaint was filed through Judicial Watch. They said that the Secretary Weber is in violation of federal law. She is not removing inactive and illegitimate voters off of the list. Instead, more than 800,000 registrations have remained inactive and on the rolls for at least 3 elections, with 150,000 plus for at least 4 consecutive elections who should not be there. The lawsuit also alleges that the state takes no effective action to have counties fix the issue. It's all just bedlam. Currently, they've got over 23 million registered Californians to vote, and Judicial Watch has been suing for a long time. They sued all the way back in 2019. Here is the Orange County supervisor called Don Wagner. California Post contacted Weber's office for a comment, but the lawsuit has now been filed. We've got voting sites vandalized. We've got mail-in ballots burning all over the place. We've got drop boxes which are receiving ballots that they're discovering days after the election occurs. And so Judicial Watch said enough of this already. Here's what has been filed. You see, this is a complaint from Don Wagner and the American Independent Party in California versus Shirley Weber, the Secretary of State. They say, we're now suing you, Shirley. The court has jurisdiction. We're residents of Orange County. We are a part of the Independent Party. And just so you know, federal law, the National Voter Registration Act and U.S. Code says says you have to have a program in your state that makes a reasonable effort to have a valid list. You got to remove dead people from the list. People who move, you have to get them off the list. They no longer live there. Now, with respect to voters who have changed residence, there's certain mechanisms you have to follow to get them out. You got to send them a confirmation notice. Hi, we think you moved. Did you move? We're just confirming it. Yes or no? If the answer is yes, take them off. If it's no, no response, put them on an inactive voter list. Then a voter with inactive registration may still vote, but afterwards you start to move them off the list. Okay, there's list maintenance. They stop responding. You think they moved. They're off the list. There's a bunch of rules and mechanisms on how this works, but here's what we've now got in the facts section. Now, on June 30th, the EAC published its biennial NVRA-related report about all of this. And along with the report, the EAC, which is the U.S. Election Assistance Commission, and you're required, all of the various states, to send them a report. It's a federal agency by Congress ordering you to do this. You've got a certain time period to do it. On June 30th, the EAC published its report. And along with this report, the EAC published its responses that it received to a voter registration survey that it sent out to the states. State responses to the EAC surveys are compiled in data sets using various software so we can read them. The largest number of outdated registrations subject to removal almost always belong to those people who have changed residence. Now, in California, they failed to comply with any of these laws. The data defendant certified to the EAC that they sent over to the EAC, it indicated that 10 California counties, Alpine, Imperial, Inyo, Kings, Mariposa, Mendocino, Plumas, San Bernardino, and others, they reported all 10 of these counties. Listen to this. Guess how many people they removed off the list? You don't need to guess. It's right there. 0. They took 0 voter registrations off the list for 2 years. Nobody moved. Nobody was validated as not being eligible to be on the list all the way from November 22 to November 24. For failing to respond to a confirmation notice, these 10 counties reported a combined total of 1.7 million registrations. Now, the data, again, that they certified to the EAC indicated that another 10 counties reported removing less than 50 registrations. So you go to the other counties, 10 of them said, we're not removing anybody. Are you maintaining your list? No. So 0 get removed. How about the other ones? Another 10, Butte, Colusa, Contra Costa, Glen, the rest of them, they had less than 50 removed. Those counties had 1.6 million. Then we had 20 counties combined that had either 0 or less than 50. That's 3.4 million voters. Yet these counties reported removing a grand total, 3.4 million voters. They removed only 218 registrations. Insane number as a percentage. Now, for context, an actual county like this one, San Diego County, that's not filled with fraud, they have 2.2 million total registrations. They reported moving 306,000. So 306 removed out of 2.2 million. The other counties, 20 of them, 3.4 million, they removed 218. That's it. Between the period between 2022 and 2024. And just to be clear, that means that they're getting, it's like automatic mail-in balloting. They're getting ballots. They're just shipping out the ballots to these people. So if it's even remotely close, you might say, whatever that percentage is, 306 out of 2.2 million. This is 3.4 million. So maybe it's 506 people who should probably be removed based on a statistical comparison between the two. Out of the 3.4, maybe 500,000 should have been removed. Those 500,000 people are not removed, which means a portion of them are getting ballots shipped out to them. So there's hundreds of thousands of extra ballots just floating around California up for grabs. For further context, Mono County, or Mono, they got 9,175 total registrations. They removed 574. Other California counties reported removing only a fraction of a percent of their total. For example, this one called Stanislaus County reported removing fewer than 0.5% of its total registration. Sutter County removed fewer than 0.25%. Riverside reported removing fewer than 3/100ths of 1%. It's like a joke. Saying sworn interrogatory responses submitted by defendant Weber, Shirley Weber's office, also established that following the close of the last reporting period, 21 California counties made 0 removals under federal law. 0. In those same responses, Shirley Weber attested that another 6 counties made fewer than 30 removals under that same period. 30 total, not 30%. According to the Census Bureau, 10.8% of California residents are not living in the same house that they were 1 year ago, but that means they're still getting ballots. So according to the census, 660,000 residents moved out of state, about 690,000 residents moved out of state in 23, and 818,000 moved out of state in 2022. Okay, so if they're not removing these people, just add those numbers up. 660 plus 690 plus 818. Ballots still flying out there, up for grabs. If Shirley Weber was actually conducting a general program that makes a reasonable effort to cancel the registration of voters who have become ineligible because of a change of residence, it would not be possible for 10 counties with a combined total of 1.7 million registrations, 1.8 really, to cancel zero registrations in a 2-year period. If she was actually conducting a general program that makes a reasonable effort to cancel those people because of ineligibility due to a change of residence, again, it's not possible just on the numbers for another 10 counties with 1.65 million to cancel a total of 218. They're not even checking. If defendant was actually conducting a program, it would again not be possible for 1.7 million registrations to cancel amounting to a minor fraction of 1% of their voter rolls. The fact that 23 out of California's 58 counties, which reported a combined 5.2 million registrations up to the feds, are canceling so few registrations means that Shirley Weber in California is literally not complying with federal law. She's got an obligation to do this. NVRA said you have to. So California's current program for removing these voters guarantees that no California official is held accountable for compliance. Nobody cares. They do not send confirmation notices to those believed to have moved. They do not track how and whether a registrant responded to a confirmation notice independently of what county official did it, and they don't cancel anything. Rather, they rely entirely on county officials to do these functions. So now Shirley, they write, is unable to change the status of a voter who failed to respond, will not change it from active to inactive, won't change a voter who meets the criteria from inactive to removal to happen. She does not check in advance whether confirmation notices contain the language under the law, and as recently as 2023, some California counties were still sending non-compliant confirmation notices. And Shirley, we asked her questions, we had interrogatories with her. She doesn't even know whether new notices of confirmation were even sent out. She does not track whether an inactive voter has failed to vote for 2 general elections. She takes no actions to ensure that county officials send confirmation notices. So she says, it's not my responsibility. Go talk to those counties. If you're mad about those counties not complying with the law, go talk to them. It's not my responsibility. Get out of here. She takes no actions to ensure about any follow-up to a change of registration, change of address, doesn't make sure that the county cancels anything, has no process to deal with a situation where a county fails to do their job. Agents of Shirley admitted in a deposition that there are additional measures that they could take, but they don't. She confirms the data about how many notices were sent out were either received back confirming, updating, or invalidating the registration, were either not received back, were returned undeliverable, but it's not in my possession. So I don't know. We send them out, something happens to them, we don't follow up on it. They also got this woman called Jana Lean. She testified as chief of the California Secretary of State's election division. She said she did not consider familiarity with federal law to be necessary to even do her job. So in summation, Shirley claims to have delegated all responsibility for all critical steps of the law, sending notices, tracking responses, inactivating registrants, tracking when registrants are eligible, removing them. She says it's all county, not my problem. But if they fail to do those things, she doesn't care. She does nothing beyond continuing for a time to remind them, oh, you should be doing this. These reminders are all but meaningless, given that she doesn't know because it does not independently track anything. Doesn't track when inactive registrants have become ineligible. And so the reminders are wholly ineffective. Now, to the extent that she has delegated her responsibility, she is out of compliance with federal law. The fact that Shirley Weber either cannot or does not ensure that confirmation notices are sent out, or that voters who fail to respond are designated inactive, means that there are more registrants on California's rolls who are listed as active, but who ought to be inactive and should have already been removed than there should be if they were in actual compliance. And so in her interrogatories, they also confirm that the individual counties are not removing anybody anyways. In this response from December 9, 2025, 873,000 California registrations had been continuously inactive for at least 2 general federal elections. 326 had been continuously inactive for at least 3 elections. 151,000 for at least 4 elections. 33,000 inactive for at least 5. So count one. We're alleging you're violating all of the various federal laws. We want.
Yeah, you know, we all know California is corrupt. Well, yeah, I've given reports about that. So you know, it's utterly amazing, and he's going to go on, but it's just more of the same stuff. California's corrupt, and they don't give a shit. All right, clicking on the Rumble link. This video does come from Robert Gouveia. There's a video I shared with you. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. And as I mentioned earlier, folks, we are down here in southwestern Indiana at Santa Claus, Indiana. We're taking the kids to Holiday World and Splash and Safari, and it's a nice little amusement park. I mean, the deal on it, we're going to stay for 3 days. We got tickets $99 or $90 for 3 days. So, you know, that's like $30 a day, which is, you know, pretty cheap. You go to a place like Disney World. Now, you can't really compare this to Disney World, but an amusement park. I mean, the kids rode rides all day long today and played in the swimming area. They have, you know, large water slides and things for them to play in, and they had a ball. But you know, Disney's like $129 a day the last time I looked. It might be more than that. But you know, it's a great time if you have a chance to come here. It's in the Central Time Zone, and you know, Indianapolis is in the Eastern Time Zone. That's why my timing here on my videos is a little bit screwed up. But at any rate, just not that I'm getting any. You know, they're not a sponsor of the program, just to let you know what's going on and to let you know that, hey, you know, it's not a bad little deal. Okay, let's jump back here and slide down, and let's hear Wendy Bell. We haven't heard her for over a week. Hey, I've been missing her. Let's see what she has to say. It's we're talking about California is a Democrat dumpster fire. Well, isn't that the truth? Okay, here we go. Right after her Pledge of Allegiance. Amen.
Bacon example, Sir Robbie did what's liberty of the justice for all. Amen. Well, it's almost like we could have seen this happening, right? It's almost like we could have predicted what's going on in California. In fact, one of you sent me on Twitter over the weekend, and let's see, I want to read this to you. It is a tweet by Robbie Starbuck, right? And he writes, Chat GPT can't find a single example of a third place candidate surging days after election day to overtake second place. Literally, it could not find one single example in all of American history. And the people in California running the elections there want you to believe that it's absolutely normal, that it should take days and days and days to count votes, and that days and days and days of counting later, the third place candidate, a socialist whack job who nobody knew, some babe who's on city council there, who's like, yeah, I'll run for mayor, is now surging and has taken over Spencer Pratt in the second place position, basically knocking him out of the running for mayor. The people in Los Angeles do not matter. Your vote does not matter. Your intentions do not matter. Your wishes, your goals, your dreams, your hopes, your idea of the American dream in California does not matter. All that matters is that the cheat and the suck and the fraud and the corruption and the abuse of the California taxpayer continues in perpetuity forever and ever. On today's show, guys, we've got to go back in time a little bit. We're going to go back and we're going to ask ourselves some serious questions. Do you believe, for instance, that in 2010, after 4 weeks of counting, that Kamala Harris was the one who won the attorney general position in the state of California? Because I don't. I have great questions now, not only about that, but about what happened in my great state of the land before time, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, which is corrupt as stones as well. Do we believe that Josh Shapiro won the governor's race several years ago? I don't know. I think we all have questions now. And if you're a Democrat, part of this machine, people like you and I are the threat to democracy. Your questions, your innate feeling inside when you're like, come on now, really? That makes you a danger and a threat to democracy. See, when things go well for the Democrat machine, that's the way it should be done. That's the gold standard of elections. That's the way it is. But if a Republican steps in and overtakes a Democrat, that raises alarms. That is a threat to democracy. Give me a break. We're going to hit some of these catchphrases today. One of the biggies is going to be without evidence. That's going to be up there with baseless claims. You know, they've beaten that into the ground. Those piñatas have resuscitated themselves all of a sudden. Now we're going to take swings at them again, even though all the Tootsie Rolls have fallen out of them. That's where we are. In what world does a woman who nobody knew, whose name nobody could pronounce, nobody had a clue who this Nithya Raman was, who, by the way, after the primary last Tuesday, was it only last Tuesday that was the primary? Honest to God, has it not been 17 years? It feels like it. Last week, conceded on election night after Spencer Pratt basically beat the snot out of her, as well he should. She came to the stage and to the microphone, and she was just so upset, and she conceded. And if you didn't catch it, here it is.
And Gouveia, I hope you know that everything every person in this room is fighting for in this campaign has been about building a city that's worthy of you and every child in this city.
And they want you also now to believe that Xavier Becerra, right, HHS secretary under Joe Biden, who, by the way, oversaw the loss of 500,000 illegal alien children who came into this country unaccompanied with parents, were just lost, right? And put into the hands of human traffickers and sex trade doers, whatever. They want you to believe that this guy has now overtaken Steve Hilton in the governor's race in California. Can you tell me that California is a Democrat dumpster fire without telling me California is a Democrat dumpster fire? There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody knew who Nithya Raman was until Spencer Pratt obliterated her in that debate. And then all of a sudden, over the weekend, what? All of the votes came in. All of the progressives were waiting to send in their mail-in ballots at the same time. And in this amazing stroke of luck, like almost all of them went to Nithya Raman. Come on. See, The part that's so insulting, beyond that it's all so insulting, is that it's ridiculous. It insults your intelligence. It insults everything that you know about elections. And when Kristen Welker sat down with President Trump over the weekend, as the rain clouds opened up, it was like pouring on them in Wisconsin at this agriculture farming thing that Trump was headlining. And she was like, there's no evidence of blah, blah, blah. It's just the way California does things. No, babe. No. That's the way they want you to believe. It's just so complicated. We just don't know how to do it. You know what happens in Afghanistan? Oh, that's right. They have a winner at the end of the election day. You know what they do in every other country on planet Earth? Yeah, they have winners at the end of election day. But in California, the process is just so slow. We just, there's just so much to do. I was like, I don't know how we're going to get through it, please. This is going to be all out warfare. And I'm going to tell you what, this is exactly what needed to happen for everybody to see exactly why the Save America Act is so dang important. So to our Republican friends, and I'll use that loosely, who are in the United States Senate, who are on the fence about this. Ooh, I don't know about the Save America Act, making people prove that they're from this country. It just seems so, discriminatory. How about you suck it? Okay? Did you hear that? You can suck it, because now the entire world is watching the complete sham that is California election fraud. Now, other people are coming out of the woodwork. Jake Tapper's like, well, I don't think people should say it's fraudulent. Then there's Chris Cuomo. There's no evidence that there's any problem. You shouldn't be able to say that it was a stolen election, you guys. It's the same dang playbook. It's the same everything. But here's what's funny about the left. They're super lazy. They're arrogant. And they're super lazy. Nobody was like, you know what? I think maybe we should take that playbook, dust it off a little bit, and maybe make it a little bit more modern. No. They went back to the same thing that happened to President Trump in 2020. Because in no world, and I'm no math major, friends, I admit that freely, in no statistically significant world does an election go like straight up election, like votes all for one person, unless somebody is cheating. And that's exactly what happened. So over the weekend, first place Karen Bass managed to pick up 20,000 mail-in votes. People certainly hot and horny for her for some reason, right? Wrong. Spencer Pratt, who was in second place at the time, got 10,000 votes to kind of make it look sort of okay. But that he lost a percentage of his overall vote total. He dropped 1% to 27% of the total vote. And then all of a sudden, it's just so wild how this happens. Third place, Nithya Raman got 24,000 votes and managed to surge to that number 2 spot. And who gets to duke it out in November? Numero uno and numero dos.
My video.
Right?
I don't care.
That is, my friends, what we're going to be discussing today and many other subjects. So if you're tired of being lied to, if you're ready for the truth, you found it right here on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. When we come back, Spencer Pratt, the 2026 version of 2020 Donald Trump. And we've got the numbers to prove it. Next.
All right. Now, did you miss her or what? J.D. Rucker did a good job giving out information, but not with the enthusiasm of Wendy Bell. And I'm telling you what, let me know in the comments, folks, or in the chat. Let me know. I'm glad she's back. I hope she had a great vacation, but I'm certainly glad she's back. Okay, this will be in my daily news wrap-up, the rest of this video. But let me click on the Rumble link and show you that this video does come from Wendy Bell Radio. I'm following her channel. I've given her a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. All right. So, yeah, and I don't understand why a lot of times seems like more times than not, when I start Wendy's video, it doesn't pick up the audio. I can hear it through my headset. You know, I played it over here and found, oh shit, the audio is not playing, so I had to refresh Rumble. I don't get it. Why that happens with Wendy? I mean, my definition of insanity, I do the same thing over and over again, yet I get different results. So there you have it. All right, jumping back here, let me copy these chats into a comment. Close that out so that they will be a permanent part of this video. And yeah, I'm glad that Wendy is back too. Thanks, Debbie BS. Okay, let me remind you that these videos that I've shared with you here come directly from the producers. I have the links to the videos here in the description box, along with the links to the producers channel if you want to check out more information that they might have. Also, these videos that I've shared with you are videos that I've posted here on Mertech.com, where I have over 40 no-nonsense, common sense, logic, and truth videos from a wide range of channels, a wide range of information, to give you the information that you're not going to get from the mainstream media. Now, you know, I'd like to share all of this information with you, but unfortunately I just don't have the time to do so. And that's why I've put together my Mertech Daily News Wrap-Up, where it says I have 21 videos here, probably about 10 or 11 hours worth of great information. Here's the Wendy Bell video that I just shared with you. I'm going to pick that up here tonight when I get my Daily News Wrap-Up started. And the Dan Bongino Show, we also have information from We the People News, X22 Report, Steve Deace Show, On the Fringe, Mel K Show, Barry Cunningham, a ton of great information. So go ahead and take a break, though, right now. Grab a cup of coffee and a donut, or a sandwich and a soft drink, or a beer, or maybe a nice glass of wine and some cheese, and meet me back here in about 15 or 20 minutes to get this set up in Rumble Studio, and we'll get this going for you so you can hear some more truth. All right, but with that being said, I do want to thank you for being here with me tonight. Hopefully, I'll get to see you again later, and may God bless.